Imagine this: you finally meet the person who's perfect for you. They're stable, they're attentive, they're predictable in their genuine care for you. In theory, this is the safe place you've dreamed of for years, healing from past wounds. But no sacred fire ignites within you. Instead, you feel a strange, sticky suffocation rising from the pit of your stomach. You're bored to the point of grinding your teeth. And then, a week later, someone else appears in your field of vision. Cold, elusive, sending an almost physical shudder of uncertainty through you. Your mind rings alarm bells, warning you of danger, but your body treacherously takes a step forward. You call it magnetism. You call it destiny, impossible to ignore. The truth is, everything you've ever known about relationships, love, and the spark is a carefully constructed lie, dictated by your damaged receptors. You're not looking for happiness, no matter how much you try to convince your friends. Your brain is searching for a familiar dose of poison, which it has mistakenly learned to perceive as the very sensation of life. You're trapped in a massive biochemical deception that began long before your first date. While you believe you're looking for your soulmate, your subconscious, like an experienced hunter, is tracking down the next executioner. Someone who will help you relive your old, deeply buried pain one more time. The urgency of realizing this fact is a matter of your mental survival and freedom. Today, we're debunking the main myth of modern culture, the belief that a strong, overwhelming attraction is a sign of the one. In fact, psychology says the opposite. The stronger the spark and the butterflies at the beginning, the more likely it is that you are simply confronting your old trauma, which has put on a new, seductive costume. Your thinking is poisoned by the pernicious idea that true love is a devastating storm that sweeps away everything in its path. But a storm never builds strong houses. It only destroys them, leaving behind ruins and scorched earth. It's time to truly understand, why does a quiet, peaceful haven seem to you not like salvation, but like a dreary graveyard of ambitions? Insight 1. The dopamine loop of chaos. Imagine a professional gambler in a casino, frozen in front of a slot machine. If the machine dispensed money with every press of the button, the gambler would leave the room within 5 minutes, bored to death. All the excitement, all that wild, primal drive, is born solely from uncertainty and the fear of losing everything. In mainstream psychology, this is called variable reinforcement, the most powerful way to form an addiction. When your partner draws you close, showering you with affection, then suddenly disappears behind a wall of cold, your brain pumps out oceans of dopamine in anticipation of a rare reward. You become hooked not on the person's personality, but on the agonizing anticipation of their next favor. You're used to calling it heavenly passion, but from a neurobiological perspective, it's a common drug addiction, no different from substance abuse. Healthy relationships seem bland and dull to you only because they lack this debilitating roller coaster. Your receptors are scorched by the constant chaos, and you can no longer taste the subtle taste of pure water. You crave a strong vinegar drink just to feel alive. Your mind makes a fatal mistake, confusing deep peace with final death. You believe that if there are no screams, drama, or arguments in the room until the early hours, then the very pulse of life is absent. But this is just an echo of a broken reward mechanism that requires ever greater doses of adrenaline to drown out your inner silence. Insight 2. The compass of trauma. Imagine a child who grew up in a dense forest, where the air was always permeated with the acrid smell of burning from the endless fires. When such a person emerges years later into a beautiful, sun-drenched, blooming meadow, they feel as if something is wrong. Their sense of smell subconsciously searches for the burning scent, because only in an atmosphere of catastrophe did they learn to be completely focused and alive. This is your attraction, functioning like a faulty, malfunctioning radar. You subconsciously scan any crowd, searching for the very person who will make you earn love anew, on your knees. You seek coldness and detachment, because your early childhood experiences imprinted in your mind a simple formula: love is something that must be wrested from the world through battle and bloodshed. That's why, when you meet a truly healthy and open partner, your internal radar is suspiciously silent. No immediate danger means no biological interest. Your thinking mistakenly perceives complete security as a lack of challenge and value. You pass by true treasure only because it doesn't require you to sacrifice yourself on the altar of someone else's ego. Your communication with reality is tuned to the frequency of eternal conflict and overcoming. You simply cannot accept the pure gifts of fate, considering them counterfeit. You are a master at winning trophies from enemies, but a complete ignoramus in the art of peace. And until you recalibrate your inner compass, you will be doomed to, accidentally, find only those who will ultimately crush your heart. Insight 3, the illusion of control through pain. You naively believe that if you finally solve the complex riddle of this cold, unapproachable person, you will attain the highest value. This is a hidden, deeply buried form of pride. You desperately want to become that one exception to the rules for someone who, by nature, is incapable of loving anyone. This is your savior syndrome, masterfully turned inside out. You try to heal or warm up another, to prove to yourself through this act your incredible worth and confidence. But beyond the surface, you're deathly afraid to look in the mirror at your own emptiness. Destructive, toxic relationships provide you with the perfect, legitimate excuse to avoid pursuing your own fulfillment for years. While you're consumed by endless drama, analyzing others' actions, and crying, you don't have to ask yourself the dreaded question, who am I really without this suffering? Your raging emotions are merely a smokescreen, protecting you from facing reality. You fear healthy relationships precisely because in their silence you'll inevitably have to confront yourself, unvarnished. There will be no one to blame for your dissatisfaction with life. There won't be endless arguments to hide your lack of goals. And this ringing silence frightens you far more than any shouting or accusations. Insight 4, the survival habit. You're a perpetual fugitive, and your body has become accustomed to this state. Your body has been in fight or flight mode for years, and high cortisol levels have become a natural, almost native habitat. When this stress suddenly disappears, you begin to experience true physiological withdrawal, like a soldier after a war. You label a calm and predictable person as boring simply because your powerful defense mechanisms are useless around them. Your honed combat skills are idle, and you feel useless. Your brain, instead of enjoying the world, begins to unconsciously provoke conflicts, just to feel the familiar tension again. This is the dark, unsightly side of your psyche. You create problems out of nothing in order to feel significant and alive through their resolution. Your psychology is that of a partisan who continues to blow up trains in the woods, even though a peace treaty was signed decades ago. You don't know how to live in peace, you only know how to survive in ruins. You systematically reject genuine concern because it seems like a suspicious trap. You seek a double meaning where none exists, and with your mistrust, you gradually kill everything pure and bright that tries to approach you. You are the chief architect of your existential loneliness, accustomed to wearing the comfortable suit of an innocent victim of circumstances. Insight 5, the eroticization of fear. Our culture has taught us to be aroused by the sensation of danger and uncertainty. When your heart starts pounding because your partner hasn't answered the phone for 3 hours, your confused mind makes the fatal mistake of mistaking this bout of anxiety for the height of sexual desire. This is the greatest and most cruel deception of your limbic system, for which you pay with years of your life. You fervently believe that this chemistry is the voice of your immortal soul, pointing to the right one. But more often than not, it's simply the cry of your frightened, abandoned inner child, who has once again learned the familiar pattern of rejection. You try to build your most important relationship on the shaky foundation of pure adrenaline and fear of loss. But adrenaline is an extremely cheap and dirty fuel. It's not designed for the long haul. It flares up and quickly burns out, leaving behind only ashes and deep depression, while you remain stuck. Right now, listening to these words, you feel a powerful internal resistance and anger. You desperately want to scream that true love must be bright and wild. But stop for a second and look at your hands. They're shaking from chronic fatigue and stress, not from romantic rapture, as you've convinced yourself. At this moment, a bitter realization dawns on you. All your so-called great romances were nothing more than a series of grueling, pointless battles for scraps of attention. You never truly loved these cold people. You loved the heroic version of yourself you feverishly invented to somehow justify being with them. That strange emptiness you feel around a healthy person isn't a lack of love or interest. It's a frightening absence of the familiar pain you've become addicted to. And it is in this clear, free space that you can finally stop fighting and begin to truly grow as a person. Your true confidence and self-worth should no longer hang by a thread on whether someone responded to your message within 5 minutes. Your attraction to the world should begin to emerge from a state of inner abundance and strength, not from a perpetual hunger and deficit of other people's approval. Stop once and for all confusing deep, creative peace with emotional indifference. Psychological stability is not a boredom for the mediocre. Stability is the highest form of luxury and personal power in a world drowning in chaos and neuroses. But to truly appreciate this luxury, you will have to go through the painful process of growing up. Right here and now, admit your bitter truth. You were deeply addicted to emotional drama. You were an obedient slave to your damaged neural pathways, which demanded suffering. This honest admission to yourself is your only real chance of finally escaping from this prison. Your old mind will resist change for a long time, trying to drag you back into the familiar swamp. It will obligingly push new, incredibly interesting, but in reality, deeply toxic, personalities at you. From now on, you must learn to instantly recognize that familiar scent of sulfur, even if it's disguised as the most expensive French perfume. Your new, sovereign thinking must now be based on a single, merciless question: does this person give me inner peace, or do they methodically take it away from me? Everything else, poems, flowers, promises, and passionate nights, are merely secondary details that mean nothing without the first point. Begin to consciously learn to appreciate what you once called boredom. This silence conceals incredible power, in which you will finally be able to hear your own, true voice. This will not be the voice of your past traumas or parental expectations, it will be the voice of your true, unadulterated strength. Your future relationships will inevitably be different, and this may frighten your old self. They will no longer be filled with broken dishes, sleepless nights, and public drama, but they will have a depth you never even dreamed of. This will be a depth of mutual trust and creativity, not the endless depth of your descent into the abyss. You no longer hunt for someone to complete your flaws or patch up your holes. You seek someone with whom you can share your inner fullness and excess energy. This is the most fundamental, tectonic shift in your personal psychology, one that will change your entire destiny. Yes, at first, this new path will seem unfamiliar and even strange. Your brain will habitually demand an adrenaline rush and conflict to feel the familiar taste of life. But remember, you are the sovereign of your reality. You are the master of your biological impulses, not their weak-willed slave. Choose emotional stability and predictability not because you've given up or gone old. Choose them because you've become too strong and valuable to yourself to continue wasting your precious resources on empty, exhausting battles with the shadows of the past. Your true creative and business potential is revealed only in a state of deep peace, not in the convulsions of love's agony. Remember this as a fundamental axiom. Your ideas, your money, your influence on the world, all of these flourish only where there is no chronic emotional exhaustion. You're finally leaving that smoky casino where you've been gambling away your life for years. You're no longer betting your entire future on zero, hoping for a miracle from an emotionally unavailable partner. You're simply taking your chips and going off to build your own independent and magnificent world. This path to your true self requires immense courage, something few are capable of. The courage to be ordinary in the eyes of drama lovers. The courage to be truly happy without strain or brokenness. The courage to admit that you deserve love simply by virtue of your existence, without conditions or sacrifice. Your darkest secret is finally revealed. You considered healthy boring only because you yourself were deeply broken and out of sync inside. Fix your inner mechanism, and the world around you will instantly take on such vibrant and profound colors you never saw in the fog of your past wars. From this moment on, you are no longer a pathetic victim of your biochemistry or childhood imprints. You are a wise strategist of your own destiny. Your attraction is no longer a frantic search for a savior, but a conscious, mature choice for a partner equal in spirit. Look straight into the eyes of your boredom and don't look away. It is behind this veil of silence that your true, unfettered greatness lies, the one that has been waiting for your awakening for decades. Stop looking for that fire that promises to warm you but always burns you, and finally start building a house that will become your fortress.